Hello, everybody, and welcome to this week's episode of Roll20 Presents Dungeons & Dragons, Baldur's Gate, Descent into Avernus. If you are feeling the need to escape from your real life and travel to a fantasy land, what better place than the pits of hell for you to visit? We thank you for joining us. Hello, friends. How's everybody doing?
Turn on the Doom Eternal soundtrack and
right. That's right. Let's go blast some devils. So before we get started, I wanted to just address real quick, because I had a lot of people asking me on Twitter, and I know that people are curious. Roll20 in the last couple of days, if you are a regular user, has been a little bit slower than usual. You might notice it in today's stream, just loading maps or loading character sheets, processing rolls. If you notice any slowdown, it's because there are way more people using Roll20 right now than normal. So awesome, the team is hard at work, making sure everything is running smoothly, adding new servers and doing all that. But if you notice a slowdown at all, either on the stream or in your own games, just be patient. It'll catch up. There's just a lot of people who are not able to play their home games and instead are like us, gathering on the internet and making it work. Yeah, I haven't had too much issue so far, but if you're playing an adventure like Mad Mage or something where you're using a lot of dynamic lighting, you're putting a lot of load on the game, you might experience a little bit of slowdown. So
yeah, we did airship combat stuff in a home game on Sunday with many D6s, and we were like, oh, okay.
Yeah, so if you are running into trouble, there are a few things I know on the Roll20 forum that you can go and check out that'll help you. Maybe if your machine needs a little bit of extra room, things you can adjust, like Fog of War and changing tokens and that kind of thing. So yeah, check out the servers if you are or the forum if you're having any trouble with your game. Otherwise, it should be good to go.
Kill your player who plays a conjuration or a necromancy wizard.
Yeah, or like a circle of the shepherd druid, or casts
anyone who plays
summon devils
or a rigger.
Yeah, right.
Me and my 100 robots.
I think today I would like to summon 40 CR 1/4 creatures. Yeah, just go ahead.
I wouldn't.
Me and my 100 robots is a TV show. It's got to be.
I would never do anything like that.
Don't forget, DMs, you always have the option to make it reef sharks. So
summon reef sharks.
Oh. Yeah. And they just fall to the earth.
Let's flop around.
For some reason, now I'm thinking about those little blue shark candies. You ever had those? Those are really good.
I haven't had those. I don't think.
Swedish fish?
Maybe they're called. I think they were dolphins.
Are they dolphins? I think I've definitely eaten shark-shaped candy before. Yeah, definitely.
I've had gummy dolphins.
I think that there's ones that have like a white belly and the blue top, and the white belly is
I hate those.
The blue top.
The marshmallow layer. It ruins the whole candy.
Yeah. I definitely hate those as well, but I remember looking at them.
Surprising nobody. Adam hates sweetness, even in taste.
Well, like now I'm thinking about it, like those peach rings, they're made worse by the marshmallow layer. You ever get those the little candies? They're like teeth. They're like candy dentures, and they're gummy gums and then marshmallow teeth. So gross.
Yeah, they're
not interested.
Why are we talking about this?
I don't know, because now I'm thinking about candies.
These are all really bad candies.
I have good candy, Sour Punch straws in my kitchen.
Nice. Right now. I am a bit of a candy heretic. I actually really like candy corn.
Me too.
Thank you, Elf. Thank you.
Candy corn is the best.
I'm usually really alone in this. I just like that.
I'm also pro candy corn.
Yeah, it's gravy and kind of weird, and
that's disgusting. It's all chewy disgusting.
Sugar. What is literally not to like about it? It's chewy sugar.
There's nothing about it. Yeah.
I would rather just have a sugar cube. Why?
I also like sugar cubes.
Yeah.
If I want chewy sugar, I'll just have a sugar cube. I don't know why.
The thing is, for folks who can't,
all you candy corn haters, just give it to me.
Yeah, right.
Send it to me.
Well, I mean, the reason, Lauren, that you like sugar cubes, people can't see this, but Lauren's actually a centaur. You can't see, but yeah, every time we've ever hung out, I've made sure to bring along an apple or some carrots. Yeah.
It's my standing desk, so I can go.
It's like, honestly, the photography work that goes into making them look like a human for those shots.
I have a leg double. So they come to all my photo shoots. So they take the photos of the bottom half.
Yeah. You gotta have a leg stand in if you want to be a professional centaur cosplayer that doesn't cosplay as a centaur.
Have you? Oh,
If you,
God, who
but
was?
why would you, right?
I mean, you want to try to make
Look,
sense.
there's a lot of hate out there for centaurs. People don't like them. They think they're too much of the centaur of attention.
Which was the actor? Which was
I
the
love
male
you.
actor who had?
God.
I have my own peanut gallery over
Well,
here.
I'm glad someone approves of your horrible behavior.
Yeah.
Oh man. I just I was gonna talk about how the anti-centaur lobby was pulling for more ladders instead of stairs, but you just made that horrible joke, and now it doesn't matter what.
Now the topic is over. Yeah.
Cool.
So bye everybody.
Yeah.
It's Karen.
I know you showed up expecting
Anyway, it's
Dungeons
been a
and
nice
Dragons,
stream.
but I don't ever want to speak to Lauren again. So
You can't say that,
No,
Adam.
okay,
You
so
do that shit all the time.
this is the thing, and it is one of my very, very few character flaws. I can dish it out, but I cannot take it when it comes to puns.
That's a pretty big character.
That's a fairly large character flaw.
I
one of
am
my very,
purely exporting puns. I
I'm
do
a
not
big-
import them.
I'm a big fan of one of my very, very few, but gapingly large character flaws.
I really like just smacking people in the face, but I hate being struck.
I hate being punched. Yeah.
God.
Yeah. Yep. Well, now I don't care how any of you are doing, and I just want to play Dungeons and Dragons.
Harsh.
I never cared what any of you were
In
I
doing.
will.
case
I will
you
say
were
this.
wondering,
I will say this.
fine.
Elf.
Doing fine.
How has? Okay, and this is me asking about like LARPs in general, but your experience in particular. So
Yeah.
I assume because of the recent silliness,
Yes.
you've not been able to LARP, right? You can't because you can't.
Well, I certainly won't be able to in the next 2 months because
yeah.
any gathering above 50 people is mixed,
Now,
so.
Is there precedent or protocol for fictionalizing an event that interrupts your ability to continue playing? Like, would a plague be a thing that people would
we
write into the
certainly-
game?
We certainly haven't thought about it, and I'm not the narrator for
Right.
any of these games, so I can't. It's not up to me.
Yeah.
But I know that Siobhan was talking about, instead of doing the game this weekend, getting some people together and doing some writing and doing some
Yeah,
some
Yeah,
other
yeah.
stuff like on the internet. Maybe I'll stream it or something.
that's cool.
To just like have something going on that is related to it and keep the hype up, keep the interest in like the world.
Yeah, because I know.
So maybe I'll suggest that. Maybe
Yeah,
I'll-
because I know when I was, when I was in high school and I knew a bunch of vampire LARPers, they would always like if there was something that had happened, like in town or like a band came or whatever, like they would introduce that stuff into the narrative, which I always thought was quite cool. That idea of like,
I've
things are
never- I've
happening
never-
in real life.
I've
Yeah.
never seen it for like Boffer LARP for like,
Yeah.
Underworld or anything. It usually is just like the game we were gonna have last month is now this month.
Right.
Mm.
Right. It's like your calendar becomes like an early Middle Ages calendar where no one can agree what month it is.
Yeah, like
Like unseasonable weather for June.
But it's one of those things where it's like it is the time of year that it is, but the narrative kind of doesn't change.
Yeah, I hear that.
Makes sense.
There's only one kind of weather in hell. Hot.
Hot.
I mean, this part of
Gross.
hell anyway. I guess it depends on what part of hell you go to.
Yeah, I mean, if you go down a couple layers, you'll
Do you
be
think-
cold.
Do you
Very
think
cold.
devils take vacations to like colder parts of hell or
I
warm
doubt
parts
it.
of hell
I
to
don't.
get a
Can a
break?
devil translocate between sections of hell?
Right, like are you free to
I don't
travel
think
from
that you
Avernus to
can.
Stygia or whatever?
No, I don't think so. I don't think so.
Yeah.
I think Nessus is all locked off. You know what I mean? Like down at
Yeah.
the bottom.
Yeah. There you go.
Asmodeus is just hanging out down there.
Well, you don't have to worry about that today because we have a scary old lady to have a conversation with. So
Oh, I guess so.
let's remind ourselves. Let's check the quest log before we jump back in. So this is like a toad on the log on the hole in the middle of the sea or whatever thing. So you're trying to help Lulu recover her memories, and you are following a trail of clues that ostensibly will lead to that. The first stop on that trail and where you began your long journey down the path of devils was at the Demon Zapper, where we found a cool unicorn stuck in a bubble, and there was a Dow, and the Dow was like, "I can't help you." You might say
The
that
unicorn's name was like Moonflower. or
moon
something.
color.
Moon color, yes. And the Dow's name was Ralzala or something.
Fucking
Yes.
moon color. It's
Moon
like
color.
I
Maybe
feel
color
like that
isn't
is a
terrible,
character lifted from She-Ra.
Mhm.
That they were like, what if we put this in D&D?
though. What if we just put this in here?
Ladies,
What if we have
gentlemen,
Swiftwind, but we can't
non-binary
call him
friends,
Swiftwind?
welcome to this adventure. So yeah, if you think that's the silliest name you're gonna get, you just wait. You just wait. So having had a conversation with both the captive unicorn and the Dow that made a bad deal, you headed to the Bone Brambles to get help from Red Ruth, a hag that Ralzal sent you to talk to. So having negotiated the Bone Brambles and driven off 3 nasty elf spirits, you have found yourself in Ruth's sanctum. And I'll give you the quick description again, and then we can see what old Ruth has to say. So at the center,
Do we need the quick description again?
at the center of the maze lies a cave-like hovel. Hundreds of bones and body parts hang by twine from the entrance, and the ceiling is strung with a garland made of bloody entrails. The air buzzes with flies. Within, we see Red Ruth, a particularly gory hag. She wears a dress made of stitched-together bones. A string of tiny skulls hangs around her neck, chattering quietly to themselves or to her in various languages. And she looks up as November comes around the corner into her sanctum. November, do you say something upon your? Because you come around the corner, you see her. Bryn, probably you notice November stops and is looking at something. November, do you introduce yourself or do you let Ruth introduce herself first?
What kind of action is throwing up?
Yeah.
I mean, if you do it on purpose, it's probably like a wisdom save or something to like force yourself to. But if you do it by
I
accident,
think it's more like
it's
a
a save to not
constitution
to.
save.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that what happens is that November turns the corner,
Mhm.
sees this very gory, like nightmarish horror movie scene.
Yeah.
And like her skin is usually like a pale bluish kind of color, and you just see her like she looks like all of the color that wasn't really even there in the first place is just like even more gone.
Yeah,
Like,
so it's clear, Bryn, that November is having a moment.
Yeah.
Like
Is
when
everything
you've got an
okay?
ice lolly, you get an ice lolly and it's like blue, but it's obviously all ice. And if you suck it and like it just
Yeah,
goes
yeah.
to,
Oh,
like,
yeah. The one of the otter pops. I don't know what the otter
yeah,
pops.
yeah.
You suck the blue out of it, and then it's just
Yeah,
ice.
yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, you're like a spent Slurpee headed
Yes.
for the trash. So you come around the corner, you see it, and so Ruth looks up and she says, visitors. Come in, children, come in. I've candy for you. And she picks up a bowl off of her desk and holds it out to you. And the bowl is full of bloody teeth. And she just kind of rattles it at you. Like, come inside.
I feel like Bryn, who can't quite see this person, is like, oh, good, we found her. Are you all right, November?
I allow you to pass through my square.
Oh, hello. It's like,
So when Ruth sees you,
Yes.
she says, there's more. Not much room. Come in. And she moves sort of the back of the room and like gestures like, everybody come on in to Red Ruth's hovel. And
There's
you notice,
intestines.
Bryn, you notice that she looks a long time at the shield, but doesn't say anything. And Sosrovo at the back of the line, you hear Lulu say,
What's going on? What's happening? I can't see anything.
and Lulu's trying to
Really?
like nudge
Yep.
past you. Like, come
The voice has changed ever so slightly.
on.
They're like, I don't know. I'm just trying to get. Maybe you should stay here. Like this spot. Don't go around the corner.
Okay.
You're in good. Trust me.
So
I know
she
these
just
things.
hangs there from her little wings flapping, like nervously looking around. And she says,
I'll keep an eye out for ghosts.
Good point. We'll be back as soon as humanly possible. Please, everyone.
okay.
yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
like behind whatever this like there's a little bit of bramble that was like poking and I like step back,
Yeah.
but at the same time I'm like nervously like half in and half out of the doorway. Like you can't really do that because we're in 5-foot squares, but I'm not pointedly staying like I don't like for description's sake, I'm not actually like let me just hide in this corner. It's just I don't want to be in the room.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So as you come
Thatcher
in,
doesn't seem to care, but also she often doesn't seem to care.
yeah, right. Like, man, blood and guts and stuff. Cool. I got a cloak just like that at home.
Yeah, it's nice.
So
Good
yeah,
choice.
so she she looks up and she says, so many visitors, fat juicy children, one and all. Have you come to trade? Have soul coins for old Ruth? Or maybe it's a divination you seek. What brings you to the center of the bramble today?
I got that last one covered. That's me. I'm the best diviner there. Never mind. I'll let the other
Where
people
are
talk.
we here again?
Bryn turns to Sathra. So we're here because of the Dow that made the bad deal.
Yeah,
and
but-
we
Yeah,
want
so
to get
the-
out of the
the-
deal so
yeah.
that we can
It was-
rescue the unicorn so that the Dow will help us.
Her
Yes.
name was Ralzara.
Yes.
Ralzala.
Rosala, yep.
Actually, we're here on someone else's behalf. Dow, named Balzala. She wants to get out of a bad deal that she's made.
And she scowls and she says, "Here on an errand for another. Unusual. You don't look the charitable type." And she like reaches out to like pinch your cheek, Sathra.
You are
That's
correct.
what I keep
I
telling
do-
everyone we should.
You're correct. I do very much hate charity. But this is in service of another thing in a chain of things that we have to do to get what we want done in the end. So it's not really charity so much as just a series of errands.
And she nods and says, "So you've come to Ruth then for answers. I know this Ralzala works the devil lords, but..." And she kind of like scowls and she says, "But if you want my help, you'll need to do something for me first."
Of course, yes.
No,
And she
come
chuckles
on.
and,
Didn't
like,
you say
rubs
soul
her-
coins?
She rubs
What
her hands
bullshit
together.
do you need us to do?
And she says, "A favor for a friend is a special sort of thing down here. But of course, while you're here, why not shop a bit?" And she gestures, and as she does, there's a cabinet of bone that opens, and you watch it. It has skeletal arms on the side, which animate and grab
Oh,
and
God.
open itself. And
Cool.
inside, there are potions, all kinds of potions. And she says, "They don't taste so good, but they'll do the trick if you've the soul coins to trade."
Yes.
And she says, "Want to breathe fire? Want to heal your wounds? Turn yourself invisible, maybe." She gestures again with an ancient gnarled hand.
Under my breath, I'm like, I would love to turn her invisible.
What we really need are the coins that we would have to trade, which we do not have very many of, and drive our vehicles. So,
Yeah, we
Pass.
got a decent amount. We killed that one guy.
oh, I suppose yes.
And she
Come on, let's see what you
Is
got.
there something you want, Sosorovo? And
she
you
reaches
want to
up.
go shopping.
She reaches up and she taps the inside of the cabinet, and a little bird claw, like that is holding a scroll, opens, and the scroll drops down dramatically. And on it, it has a price list. And at a glance, Sosorovo, you can see that for 1 soul coin, I'm gonna just take a step back, and now I'm speaking as a dungeon master. For 1 soul coin, you can buy any common or uncommon potion. For 2 soul coins, any rare potion. And for 3, if you have 3 soul coins, it says divinations available. So
Yeah, well, I can do that for 0 soul coins. Screw you, lady.
I wonder if you can. Let me see.
I can
Like,
do
is it
whatever
like-
I
is
want.
it-
You
special
certainly
in some way?
cannot. You cannot replicate the way
fuck?
you are both diviners, but in different ways.
I hate this.
Yeah. So she says, "Why not take a look?" And gestures for you. And like so, you can go over and look at the potions if you like.
Yeah, let
Does
me
she-
just pull up a sorted item, magic
right.
item list by rarity and by type.
Does she
I
have
am
like
doing.
does she have like spell components?
No. She has potions and magic. And she Yeah, I think she, she's willing to let you like look over the thing. But as Sosrovo is looking at the cabinet, she turns back to Sathra, and she looks you up and down and like takes a long sniff at the air near you, and then makes a look, like gives you a look like, like something about the way you smell to her is like familiar or like putting her off. And then she says, if Ralzala wants to get out of the bad deal she made, it's not hard. Red Ruth knows the answer. But a favor first. Have you been to the Wandering Emporium?
Not yet.
Not.
You're not there. You're around the corner, November, unless you peer in and you're like, nope.
No. I'm sorry. No.
No, we haven't been there.
And she nods and she says, nor have I in a few centuries at least. And I think, and she kind of like holds up her clothes are like crusty with dried blood. She kind of holds them off of her and like smells herself. And she says, I think I'm long overdue for a bath. So I'm going to show you the way to the Emporium. And when you get there, you're going to go to Infernal Rapture and you're going to make an appointment for me. Once the appointment's made, come back here and keep an eye on the bramble for me until I return. If you do, I'll unlock that little secret you're after, and you can free your Dao friend. What do you think?
Fair enough.
Wait, we have to stay here?
I'm getting quite sick of doing one thing for another thing for another thing for another. I've forgotten why we care, but it's fine. It doesn't matter. Let's
The
do this.
layers are very deep, and my notes are non-existent.
Honestly, I've wondered that about your entire involvement sometimes, Sathra.
No,
So it's-
November has like this book that she's writing stuff down. She's like, well, we're doing this because of this reason, and then this reason, and then this one, and then blah, 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 blah. I
Yeah, I
have
mean,
been taking that.
As
quest-
to my entire involvement,
Mhm.
it's important enough that I should be here. Sosrovo. That's why I'm here.
Yeah, all right. All right, I want
Also,
one
you'd
of
all be
these.
dead without me.
How many coins we got, guys? But whisper it so she doesn't know and doesn't raise the price. 'Cause that's what I do.
I think we have 6.
We,
but I don't
we had
have-
6. We used 1.
You've used
So-
one. You have 5, yeah, and each one is fully charged and will
I think-
power the car for 72 hours. The
I
car
think
has
I'll-
1 day left, I think, before you.
All right.
Yeah, before you have
I
to
think
charge.
it would be worth investing, since we are in hell, in an elixir of health. Because I know our paladin friend is immune to diseases, but in case anything untoward happens, being able to cure any disease or blind, deafened, paralyzed, or poisoned once in a bad situation might be something worth investing in. The rest can replicate the spells easily enough. Sound good?
I can have lesser restoration.
Yeah, I was like, in what way is that different from lesser restoration?
I actually technically have it prepared. Always.
You have it
It's an oath
prepared?
spell. It's one of
I
my
can
oath
also
spells, so
pre-
it's
I
always
can-
prepared.
I can also prepare lesser restoration.
For me, it's because it's one of my oath spells. I just always have it.
Mhm.
That's the
Yeah.
problem with potions. They're actually not very interesting because you have them once. They're like elixirs in Final Fantasy.
And
Yeah.
for like 6 days of
If you get
travel.
to the end of the game and you have more than 3 potions in your inventory, you win. That's how it works.
Yeah, I'm looking.
Yeah, potions,
It's
not
fine.
for drinking.
I mean, we don't have to buy a
there
potion.
have been some
We have
clutch
our
potion
first.
uses in the past, but
Oh, yeah.
generally they're not super useful. No.
obviously you can't handle her strongest potions, so
I think potions are mostly a way to fill in for casters you don't have in your party.
Mhm.
But between
I
a wizard, a
think-
paladin, and a druid, we've got a
and
lot
for
of that.
preparing, because they're relatively cheap, they're for preparing
Yeah.
for specific circumstances. Like if you're going into
Yeah.
the Underdark or into Menzoberranzan, having like a
Yeah.
potion of free action or
If
whatever.
we're talking about cool potions, I've got a potion of frost giant strength still in my inventory. From when we
I
did
don't
that.
think that 2 soul coins feels cheap to me.
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
well,
that
it's
seems
because
kind of
we
smart.
haven't seen how to get more yet, right?
Yeah.
You're
Yeah.
picking up loose change, but you don't have a job.
Yeah,
Right.
so that's why it doesn't.
Harsh.
Yeah.
Well, we can also come back after we do this quest for her. I don't and buy him then because assuming we're going to complete this quest. Because what happened is we had 2 places to go. We went to one of them and we encountered the Pegasus, and the Pegasus wanted to be free, and to do that we had to help Rosala, and to do that we had to help Red Ruth, and to do that we have to go to the market.
It was a unicorn, not a Pegasus.
Oh, it was a unicorn.
It's
sorry.
a unicorn. Yeah.
There's a difference.
I get confused. So we could give up on this entire quest train because we didn't. What was Rosala going to help us with if we help her?
She was going to not kill us when we tried to free the unicorn.
But I feel like we were going to get
so let me pull up the previous item in the quest chain here.
Actually, get my notebook so I can take notes.
all I have is that it'll allow us to free the unicorn without having to fight Ralzala.
I feel like she offered us like you scratch my back, I scratch yours.
And
scenario.
also like she's got to deal with Zariel, so it would be helping her get out of the deal with Zariel.
Yeah. She's sworn fealty to Zariel, which she should not have done, and she regrets it. And if you help her, then she'll help you. She knows information about Zariel.
That's
and
right.
Oh, information.
Yeah.
Okay.
And she's also friends with Belle, right? We talked about that briefly. So
yeah, she's friends with the other demon lord that you have a deal with potentially.
yes. And I mean, not potentially, actually, and literally.
Actually
in the most real sense of the word. Yeah. Yeah. So you'll get wound back to her, and she'll give you the quest. So okay, so if you agree, as Sosorovo is looking at the potion rack, she says to you, "You have a map."
Yeah. I continue looking at the potion.
Yeah. So she takes it and she hands it to Sathra, and she says, "Open it."
I open it.
Okay. So she reaches over to one of her little like craft tables, and she picks up a rusty nail, right? Picks up a rusty nail and eats it, puts it in her mouth and swallows it. And she makes a pained face, and you can see her trying to struggle to get it down. And she says, "Just a moment now." And then she starts to cough and starts hacking into her fist, and then makes a big, long, gross snorting sound and spits a bloody droplet onto the map. And she says, "There, the Emporium. Go there. You'll find it. Make me my appointment, and then come right back." Yes. I'm looking very much forward to it.
Any chance you can tell the ghosts not to devour our life essence on our way back in?
And she squints at you and she says, "Oh, they're not mine to command. A nasty thorn in my side, too."
Did you kill them yourself, or were they just like already dead when you got here?
She turns to look at you. "Perhaps if you survive protecting the brambles, when I return, I'll tell you all about it."
Okay. Well,
This
we're
is going to be one of those defend the area.
When you get back, there's going to be a tiny floating robot with the voice of Tyrion Lannister that you need to protect.
Defend the area for 10 minutes.
No.
Okay. So
right,
So did you want to buy any potions, or do you want to think about it while you're on your way there?
Potions.
No potion.
No potions.
All right. Okay. So let me see. I think that there is a fast travel out rule for the bone brambles. Now that you've traversed the interior. Let me see. Here we go. It's a group survival check.
Oh, okay.
Group survival check. So everybody make a survival check.
Cool. It's not going to be so hot for me, but it's fine.
I got a crit.
Okay.
I got 3.
We got 1 and 1. All right. 2 and 1. Okay. And then I got to make, I guess, Lulu is the is the way out. Let's see.
What? Lulu counts?
Well, because 2 of you. Well, here's the thing: 2 of you failed and 2 of you succeeded, and Lulu's
we
in the party.
succeed,
so.
isn't it? It's
But Lulu's part of the party. So.
Oh fuck!
Can I
Lulu.
just carry her on the way out?
I have
like a
crit.
football.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
just under the
all
arm.
this roll is it's not to see if you can, it's to see if you run into any more trouble on the way. So let me just check real quick.
I wasted a 20.
That's not how that Never mind.
Wasted.
It's not at all how that works.
Yeah, no, that's definitely how math works. There's a limited number of 20s in every die.
Yeah.
Okay. No, I think you're good. I think you're okay on this one. So
expended charges.
It takes a while, right? Like it all it really does is waste
going the wrong way.
It wastes fuel, right? And yeah, it's Bryn, Sathra, and Lulu keep getting confused, and then there's a few points, but sometime later you leave the bramble behind. You come back out into the air of Avernus. Your vehicle sitting there screaming quietly, waiting for you to rejoin it. So, despite the fact that we have a map of Avernus, it doesn't really matter where the place is because nothing is anything in relation to each other. Like the bone brambles and the demon zapper aren't actually located the way they are in the map. That's just a way to see them. So, so you see that, and when you get back to the vehicle, you have a general idea of which way to go to get to the Emporium. So, unless there's anything else you want to do here in the thicket, you want to head out?
Let's go shopping.
Okay. So, as always, we're going to use up basically Sathra, because I think you're the one holding the purse strings for the vehicle. This is the last day of whatever the first coin was that you put in.
Yep.
This travel, unless you get lost. But yeah, so this is that. And then you're going somewhere new. So I think it's 2d4 from somebody to see if you end up somewhere different. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So you do manage to make your way there. Because it is another day of travel moving across the thing. Everybody who is not already an evil character, make a wisdom save, please.
I have a +10.
Okay.
I got a 13.
Right.
I have a +10. I got a 13.
Technically, you get an extra +3 from me.
Okay.
The walls of your mind's fortress resist Avernus's corrupting influence.
That's good.
But you talk about it like it's a bad thing.
I mean, it's literally a bad thing, yes.
Yeah,
I mean, just because it's a bad thing doesn't mean it's a bad thing, but
Yeah.
all right. So let's give a general. There's no like real like box text for me to describe this area, but what you see as you approach is a carnival almost. So imagine it like kind of like a mix between like an old timey carnival and then also like Bartertown or the Thunderdome, in that it's all made out of on the outside, in the perimeter, it's made out of metal, like the twisted metal and the bones and gnarled wood of hell. There are at a glance 9 huge war machines similar to your own, but repurposed. They don't have wrecking balls or like front chompers. But they do seem to have, some of them have big tanks with skull and crossbones painted on the side of the tank. So you see those, and they're set up in a horseshoe around, creating a defensive perimeter around a massive collection of tents. I think you probably even see like a roller coaster, like an Avernus roller coaster in the background. Again, made mostly out of like human bones. And as you approach, you hear the sound of like calliope music, right? We hear like a slightly pitch bent version of that, like doo 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 doo, but it's all like gnarly and sounds weird because it's being played on hell instruments. So as you approach, there's a big glowing neon sign above the entrance as you reach the Wandering Emporium that says on it, the Wandering Emporium, in big glowing red letters. And then underneath that, a blinking sign says, and this is weird, you all see it in whatever your like native language is, whatever language you learned first. That's the language that you see it in. So it says, all are welcome here. No fighting, no spell casting, no exceptions. Yeah. And at the entrance, you see a hunchbacked man turning the crank on a musical instrument, while an imp whose head is wings clipped is dancing on the end of a chain on top of the instrument, like doing a little dance with a hat and a cane. And so there are people like milling around in here. There's a bunch of different businesses inside the Emporium, and you pull up, and there is a dapper looking devil, probably like a bearded devil, but he's got a little bowler hat and a vest, and he comes up, and I guess he looks up at Sathra as you get off of the vehicle, and he says, "Will milady be needing valet service while she is here in the Wandering Emporium?"
I don't believe so.
And he
we can't just leave it there.
Well, is there any humanoid around?
And actually, if you look, you look around, and there are a couple of other vehicles. None as big and impressive as the dungeon fucker, but there are a few of the two-wheeled ones kind of lined up. Like other customers have them here, but basically he's saying like, you want to pay me? I'll keep an eye on your vehicle for you.
You could kill him, and then he could keep an eye on the vehicle for you.
He's a powerful wizard, and I'll put a ward on it. So if anyone touches our car, they'll explode.
So Sorovo,
that's a real spell.
Yeah. So Sorovo, you have a wand, and all it does is if you point it at your vehicle, it just goes whoop whoop, and that's it. That's it. It does nothing else. I guess you can cast the alarm spell, but
just like at any point someone comes too close to your car, you think someone might be coming too close to your car, at any point you can just make it go off.
I like the idea of leaving the shield on the car, so if somebody gets too close, it's like,
can we make
step away from the vehicle?
Yeah, except I'm the only one who can hear it.
I mean, he's telepathic, so you know.
Can we leave Lulu in the car? I'll keep the AC on.
Lulu, Lulu could stay out, but if you look back up at her, she's doing that thing where she's like thinking real hard as she looks at the Emporium.
Her thinking real hard looks a lot like constipation.
It does. It really does. Yeah.
Real problem.
Like, I want to poop out some sparkles.
She's kind of got a bit of like a Winnie the Pooh effect to her, where like she just pantomimes everything she's thinking or feeling, where she's just like, in case somebody notices.
See, the thing is that like when you first introduced this little flying golden elephant, I was like, oh, cute. And like people were like, you could get a stuffed animal of this. And I was like, oh, that's adorable. But the more you play her, the more I'm like, I would never.
Cute things are usually annoying. That's how it goes. Yeah, I mean, to be fair, and Chad pointed this out, this is actually a really good tactic for later. If you ever want to get rid of Lulu, what you got to do is, it's quite hot out here, so just put her in the car, roll the windows up, and leave.
Oh no!
There aren't any windows.
Thank you.
There's also no doors.
Yeah, it's an open top vehicle. It's more like a Jeep, but that's fine. Yeah. So
I'd rather cut her head off than do that.
So what do you think?
I thought you wanted to put her in the sack.
Do you pay the valet, or you just like fuck off and tell him to scram?
Well, what does he want? How much money does he want?
So
I cast the alarm spell. Hell no.
Yeah, I mean, so if you cast alarm on it, yeah,
Are you actually doing that?
Similar.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I prepped it. It's ritual as well, so it doesn't waste spell slots.
Okay. All right. So yeah, the valet doesn't take it personal, right? He just gives you like a deep bow, and he says, "Enjoy the Emporium," and scampers off to go do some other obnoxious thing.
Into the Emporium.
Okay. So you walk into the Wandering Emporium, and so like I said, at the back there is a rickety, probably soul coin operated hell roller coaster. It's probably got a stupid name like the Hellevator or something. The railroad. So you see that at the back. And so that's kind of like rattling around the outside of the back edge of the horseshoe shape. There are several tents as you walk in, and there's a central kind of plaza where you see people, and by people I mean a mixture of like familiar forms. So you see a couple of tieflings that look like they're on a date, walking arm in arm. You see various demons and devils of different sorts, and a few more like mundane creatures here and there. But it seems like it's operating pretty busy. At a glance, you can see, I'll give you the names of some of these businesses. So you look around and you can see that there are a handful of like carnival games right off to one side. And there's some barkers, shouting, like trying to get people to come in and like, land a coin in the eye socket of a skull and, that kind of thing. There's a tent with a big red, blue, and white swirled pole out front that says barbershop on a sign hanging over it. And the barbershop sign is a cheerful-looking, dark-skinned woman, and she's got her hand in the hair of like a devil who looks really nervous, and she's got her scissors around his neck. And the animation of that flicks back and forth between that and then the two of them like laughing and then her doing that again. So you see that there's a barber shop. As you look back around, there is a squat, mostly metal building, unlike not a tent, but a squat metal building, and it's glowing with heat. And it says Fire Snake Forge next to it. And then there are a few like little snack stalls and places selling knickknacks and various things. And then at the back center, the biggest tent is this enormous tent. And on it has a picture of, on the sign, it has a picture of a succubus. She's got, the horns and the wings, and she's in a bathtub full of bubbles. And the animation is her like kicking her feet happily. And she like leans back and relaxes. And so that's what you see, basically like dead on the other side of the
that looks like where we'll need to make the appointment.
Does that one have a name, or is it just a picture?
It was called, she called it Infernal Rapture.
She called it Infernal Rapture, yeah.
Oh, okay. I didn't know.
While we're here, I should look for arrows though as well.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that blacksmith.
Someone writing this adventure, if you remember the part above ground as well, is trying to tell nerds something about the importance of
yeah, that's right. Even in hell, you got to take a bath.
There was a sauna too. Yeah.
It's a hygiene-centric adventure. You wouldn't.
Do you think anyone has the spell components here?
Oh, definitely. Yeah. If you need to buy special spell components, you probably can get them here. Yeah.
Probably, yeah.
Are they going to be like soul coins though, or can I just buy them with regular money?
Guess we'll see.
Okay.
So where do you want to start? Where does everybody want to go?
Well, let's make sure we have the resources to do the thing that we're supposed to come here to do first. We make the appointment, then we can deal with our own errands, then we can go back.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess
let's go to the rapture.
Towards the rapture.
Mm.
Yeah. So you're going to start
50 gold says to get an appointment, we have to schmooze with somebody else to get theirs because they're booked up.
I've only got one ticket left, and I'll only trade it for a can of dog food for my chomp. So you walk through, you get some glances, right? People look up at you, but you all look the part now, at least those with armor. And Sosrova, you always looked a little strange, so you probably fit in okay in this kind of
cool as hell
Star Wars cantina environment.
Got a big metal claw.
Yeah, and so you walk past the tieflings. One of them is trying to do the throw a coin through the skull's mouth game to impress the other. You walk through there, you can see somebody is eating what at first looks like sort of like pale like candy floss, but as you get closer, worming slightly, and the whole place is just a little off. Like take a normal carnival and bend it slightly. And so as you get closer to the Infernal Rapture, you notice there is a sign out front, and it says to those wishing to enter the Infernal Rapture, and then it has writing underneath it in small print as you get closer.
What does it say?
I got really good eyes. I'm going to read it.
So, Sorovo, you're going to take out your reading glasses?
No, I just got really good eyes.
Okay.
Even though I'm like 300 years old.
I hope I have good eyes when I'm 300. So you get over there and you want to take a closer look at it?
Your eyes have had a lot of practice. That's why they're...
Yeah,
they get better as you get...
That's how I
only that were the case. Okay. So Sorovo, it is written in complex like jargon. So it's in, again, this part is in a language you can understand. But you'll have to make a check to try to understand it. So I think it's probably Arcana.
For like the jargon.
Yeah, try to figure out what it's actually saying instead of just being like, upon entering these premises, the party of the first part must to the party of the second part relinquish such rights as, and yada, yada, yada. So this is you trying to figure that out.
Is there a lawyer skill?
Yeah, Arcana.
I crack my knuckles and I say, none of that. Cast a spell, doodly-billy-loo, comprehend languages.
You can't.
Are you sure you want to cast a spell?
I start doing it.
If you did, I would be like...
rolling up your sleeves like, here we go.
It said in big letters. No fighting, no spell casting, no exceptions.
It's not a spell, it's a ritual.
That's still a spell, Sosorovo.
Fine.
It's a ritual spell. If you want to, go outside, cast the spell, walk back in.
Not a bad idea. But anyway, I'm smart enough, obviously. So, of course.
Hey, not bad. Okay.
15's worth.
So, what this says is that to be allowed entry, you have to agree to certain terms and conditions. This is the terms of service of the Infernal Rapture. First of all, you do not hold the establishment accountable for anything that might happen to you while you are inside. Second, you are willing to enter a demiplane of your own free will, that nobody is forcing you to go, and that entering the demiplane, if anything bad happens to you as a result of leaving Avernus and entering the demiplane of the Infernal Rapture, that is your fault and not the responsibility of the house. It basically says if you sign, you agree not to cause any trouble, not to get in any fights, not to damage anything. If you do, and basically this is the part that's like deeply nested under that, the only cost of doing any of this stuff is your immortal soul. It is forfeit if you break any of these rules. Standard hell release form.
Yeah, no, everything seems pretty okay about that. Who wants to go in and make the deal? The rest of us should wait outside, just in case they accidentally break any of these myriad rules and get their soul taken away forever.
Sorry, what?
Oh, it's hell. That's like what they do.
Yes, that's like okay. This is also something that's visible now. This doesn't auto translate for you, but you see, all of you see on the other side of this metal, or this, be like on a metal board. On the other side, you see another posting. This is what you see. But anyone who can read Infernal, which is
I can
just November. Okay. So
November I should be able to, but this place sucks.
So November, I put the other version in your journal.
Oh, okay. I look at it and start reading it, and then everyone else looks at it and doesn't start reading it, and I'm like, oh, oh, right. It looks like they have food here. Ooh, garlic butter. Yum. What? Oh, wait. Oh, didn't we just fight some werewolves before? I don't. Well, I guess if they're already dead, then that's fine.
Yeah, we just left these other ones out there.
Is it a menu?
Ooh, they have sweet apple tarts with caramel drizzle. Oh, but it's made out of celestials. Or it is celestial? I'm not sure. They have coffee.
I will say my favorite item on this particular list is a deep fried miniature giant space hamster, seasoned to perfection with rosemary, basil, thyme, and tears. And you can guess whose tears those are.
Yours?
Wow.
Yeah. So you have the there's a restaurant inside.
This sounds great.
Yeah.
Oh, those sturges. They made sturge sliders. I wonder if, they didn't look tasty, but if you cook it right.
Everybody else
filled up. You could just shove stuff in there. It'd be great. Whatever you want.
It's not stuffed sturges, it's sturge sliders.
Seems like a missed opportunity then. I'm staying outside because I don't trust myself not to screw any of these things up.
That's very astute of you.
Yeah, I don't want to play that game over there.
As much as I don't necessarily want to forfeit my immortal soul, being the only one who can read Infernal, it's probably best if I go in.
I'll watch over Sosorovo, you watch over Sathra.
Sure. Don't sign anything that you don't understand. Then you come and get me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Have fun.
Yeah.
Have fun storming the castle.
Okay, so who goes into the place? Obviously, Sathra.
I already went in.
All right, so Sathra in November. So
November, you guys are reading a menu, and I'm like fucking all the way inside.
I look around and be like, "Where's? Oh, shit. Okay, yeah.
We got tasks to do."
Yeah. So, Sathra in November, you enter the Infernal Rapture, and immediately, a sense of like unease and pressure and like kind of back of the brain, like scratching fear you didn't realize you were feeling before is suddenly absent. It's like stepping out of the incredible heat. Like imagine like, I don't know, LA parking lot in the middle of summer, stepping into an air conditioned building, but for ethics, I guess. You don't feel the permeable like sense of evil you did outside.
But I'm already super evil.
Yeah, you brought it with you. Yeah.
It sounds exactly like some of my new medication for about 2 hours.
So relaxing.
Yeah. So you feel much better. You feel that pressure kind of come off. The inside of this place is enormous and is like a building instead of a tent. So the first chamber you walk into is a kind of waiting room. There are 2 divans on either side. There are arched doorways. Everything in here, and I think, God, both of you aren't from the Sword Coast. You're not from mainland Faerun. Can you make so whoever has the best history check, roll it with advantage?
My history is 0.
My history is 1.
Okay.
Then you do it.
Hiya. 18.
18. Very nice. Okay. So the inside of this place is architected to look like a Kalashite bath. So it has the arches aren't like oval arches. They have that kind of onion top shape. Everything in here around the ceiling, there's like a blue mosaic, like tile pattern. There's like a faint smell of like spicy incense hanging in the air. And there's a desk up front. And at the desk, you see, and I wonder if I have a handout for this person because they feel like they're important enough that they might. Let me take a look. No, I don't, but I might have a location one for you. But yeah, it's the front desk basically of the place, and then the stone, the walls to either side, they have doorways. But when you walk in, having signed and made your way in here, the proprietor he looks up and here we go. Yeah, there we go. Check it out. That guy.
Ooh.
Yeah. So you see him and...
Wait, that's got to be like outside, right?
Yeah, this is a picture of him outside, but
okay.
same guy.
Same guy.
Yeah. So he's got like a curved dagger in his belt. He has fine blue silk clothes. And he smiles charmingly and looks up and he says, "Welcome, guests, to the infernal rapture." And he gestures and smiles. And somewhere you can hear faint, like the faint tinkling of bells. And he says, "Our little oasis in Avernus's desert. I don't believe you're return customers. Always nice to see a new face."
Actually, the plan is for us not to be customers at all, but we'd like to make an appointment for
I wouldn't say
friend.
no. I wouldn't say no to being a customer.
And
I would, depending on how much it costs. Now, how much are these appointments?
He says, "It depends on the services. Most people come to the rapture for one of 2 things. First, because they wish to taste our food. A full meal at the rapture will cost you a mere single soul coin, and it will leave you feeling satisfied for a very, very long time. You've tried to eat here, I imagine, in Avernus, but not satisfying, is it? Like a mouthful of ashes. Maybe there's a dish you miss from home. We can make anything here. 1 soul coin is all it takes."
Why is everything in soul coins?
You say that?
We're in hell.
He says, "But if you're not here for a meal and wish to treat your body in another way, we have a variety of spa services. Body, foot, hand treatment, tendril massage, wing adjustment, massage therapy, skincare, grooming, and bathing, all included with your meal.
Oh.
I say again, a single coin. And for those who might need it, special services of dream therapy, body restoration, longevity therapy, and services for every appetite, both wholesome and degenerate." And he kind of gives you the eyebrows like, whatever you like, I can make it happen.
We only need an appointment for a bath for Red Ruth.
And he makes a face. He says, oh dear. Yes, of course, an appointment for Red Ruth. And he reaches down behind his desk and he pulls out a scroll and unfurls it and takes a look. And he says, it's going to be a difficult one. The last time she was here, we ran out of soap. And so he's looking through his
demi-plane that can make any food.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. And he looks up and he says, never underestimate the filthiness of a hag, especially one as dedicated to filthiness as Ruth is. It looks like we do have something available.
She did say she was overdue.
He nods and he says, now I will require a deposit. Just a single coin. Ruth will be able to pay the rest when she finishes her service.
Sounds fine.
Yeah, so you get
I
one?
Take out a soul coin from our little bag of soul coins.
Yeah, and he puts his hand out, and then he does that thing where you go to put the coin, and he puts his hand over your hand and like looks at you earnestly, and he says, "Are you sure I can't tempt you?"
Don't touch me.
Yank your hand back, and he makes a face, and he says, "Yes, of course. But please." And he gestures, if not here, enjoy the other services the Emporium has to offer. You'll find things you won't see anywhere else in this plane.
We'll take a look around on our way back.
And he takes the coin and he snaps his fingers and less like a magic, like D&D magic and more like stage magic, he suddenly has a receipt in his hand and he hands it to you. And he says, give this to Red Ruth. She can bring it back and avail herself of our services.
I'm just imagining all kinds of Mad Sweeney coin tricks.
Totally. Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Are you sure that I can just have just a little bit? It's so nice here.
Do you have a soul coin?
You have all the soul coins.
That's right.
And then they leave.
You considered asking how to get more soul coins?
Mommy. Okay. So while the rest of you are Cicero and Bryn, we'll cut back to you. You're walking around outside. You've actually noticed that from the entrance there are other businesses that if you're willing to go into the sort of alleys between the tents, you can find some of the sort of more hidden like second tier ones. So with a little bit of walking around, you see there is another business called From Here to Avernus. You're not sure what it does, but it's another tent that says From Here to Avernus over it. There's a building called or a tent called Ickers Away, and on it you see a human, a figure of a human picking up a bucket and dumping it on his head, and then the next frame of the little animation is he now has tentacles for arms and his like eyes are growing out of his forehead. So yeah, Ickers Away from here to Avernus, and then at the back, and this is great. So Cicero, I think you probably discover this as you come around. You see a little like almost like a petting zoo. So it's got a knee-high fence. And then there's a mud pit, and in the mud pit, there are a bunch of enormous kind of maggot-looking, like squirmy, greenish, like grubs, big old larvae. And you see them squiggling around in the worm or in the mud. And one of them has an imp on a little harness, like riding on its back, and like shouting excitedly as it slowly like moves around. And above there's a tent next to it. Above the tent, it says Zenith's Larva Farm.
Oh, I don't larvas. I think grow into. What do you reckon? Bryn?
Bryn just stares at you.
Yeah, I think Bryn's just like, what?
Like larvas are a pre-state of another thing.
Typically, yes, like, right?
Yeah. So what do you reckon? Like they grow into demons?
So
devils?
while you're talking, you hear, and I'm so excited to introduce this character. So you hear a voice from the little tent near the larva farm. You hear well, howdy there, strangers. And you look over and you see this like ancient looking hobgoblin. He's got, big long ears. One of his ears is like hacked off at the end, right? He's got his ears and he's got a big cowboy hat and huge sideburns and a little beard in the middle. He's wearing he doesn't have a shirt on, but he has a leather vest. And the leather vest has a little, like a grayish star pinned to it. He's definitely wearing chaps and definitely wearing cowboy boots. And he says,
I just want to be clear. Yeah. These are not assless chaps, right?
Technically,
technically all chaps are assless. Does he have pants on as well?
He's wearing pants under his chaps. Yes.
Thank you. I wanted to make sure that
we got there. We got there.
Not goblin, but hobgoblin.
So he looks at all of you and he says, well, hell, y'all aren't from around here, are you?
Nope.
Is it obvious?
And
neither are you. So
yeah, exactly. He walks over. He walks over, and as he does, you hear the like clink, clink, clink of his like stirrups or his spurs that he's got on. He walks over.
I like to imagine he's got stirrups.
Yeah, sure.
Not attached to anything.
No, they're just around his neck.
Just holds them and like pulls his own legs.
He's his own puppet. He walks over to you and he puts out a leathery hand to you, Bryn.
Bryn reaches out her hand and shakes
his hand and he says, well, I've been running this here larva farm for some time now. I'm retired, you see. And he spits on the ground. There's like a dinging sound, but no one knows where it comes from.
Wait, if you run a farm, how are you retired?
Well, he says, well, it's just a hobby. Keeps me busy growing them larvae, selling the larvae, what have you.
It's when you grow up, you'll understand. You need to keep hobbies.
He nods. He says, there's a plane out there somewhere in the prime material that, well, they remember me, I tell you what. But I thought it was time to hang up my axe and, take up a more pastoral life.
Yeah. So, what are they from? What are they?
And he gestures. He says, "You're not familiar with the larva?"
I look at it. Do I actually know? No, they're not from this plane, probably.
No, you've definitely never seen them before.
Please let it be the youngest form of abyssal chickens.
They weirdly
it's not one of them hell wasps, is it?
He shakes his head, and he says, "Nope. They hatch from eggs. These things, they're well, you know what a Yugoloth is?"
Sounds so familiar.
It's a kind of demon. One of your bigger types of demon.
Oh, yes, yeah.
Like bug-looking fellas, got little mandibles like this sticking out their face.
Yeah, that crazy guy up there had one or two for friends.
Yeah.
I would honestly tell you need to be more specific than that.
The bug people.
But I know who you're talking about, but never mind. Yes.
And
you need to be more specific than that.
Yeah.
Bug people.
And he says, yep. They're from Hades. Don't say I regularly go there myself, but I procure the larvae from some Yugoloths I know and sell them to buyers or, sometimes we let the little ones, and he gestures and the imp's like, yeah, riding around on the back of this larva.
Yeah, how much are they?
He says, wait, you want a larva of your own?
I don't know. I feel like there's 4 of us, but there's like 5 weapon slots on our car.
And he shakes his head and he says, I'm afraid these larvae aren't going to be of much use to you from a tactical sense. They're, they're not very bright, as you can see. And you look, and one of the larvae is just butting its head against a post, like just trying to get out by like repeatedly bonking its head. And he says, I got more than these. These are just the the ones that are safe to let out, walk
Adam,
around.
Are they like, because I'm imagining like beetle larvae with like the little mandibles and the,
yeah,
like...
let me see. I think they have human faces. Now that I look a little closer. let me double check here. So
it's like, because my brain goes maggots like
yeah. I'm thinking like big fat grubs, but I think they might be big fat grubs with human faces. So let me double check on that one.
Hell yeah.
Larva, do I have a picture?
I'll ride it around like they do.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think I have a picture, but let me see if there's a description. So let's see.
This is important to the overall narrative.
Yeah, I want one.
Okay. Make an Arcana check.
Can I just, if
Sorbo, make an Arcana check with advantage.
If Sosorovo gets to buy a larva and I don't get a nice massage, I'm upset.
Listen, Blue Jay, if you want to have one, I will give you a soul coin to do it, but you're gonna need to convince me more than please, Mom.
Please, Mom.
Or I'll bad I got 12.
Oof.
I just I want to know how we're like if there's a way to buy or obtain other soul coins.
I will read you. Yeah, what's the gold pieces to soul coins conversion?
Yeah, can we find an exchange?
We're rich.
God, they're just gonna. You got to do it as far away from the airport as possible, though, because they're gonna get you if you try to get your soul coins converted there.
Yeah,
all right. I'll tell you
Avernus
this.
International is like particularly bad for that.
I'll tell you this. So, a larva is a miserable fiend that retains the facial features of its previous form, but has the body of a fat worm. So,
sick.
Awesome.
Yeah, they are commonly fed upon by other fiends. So yeah, all of these they're like kind of like carrion crawlers, but without the little legs and instead of the tentacle face, they just have a human face. So you look over and you just see this human face just bonking itself against the thing, just going like, ooh.
Does one of them have Floon Blagmore's face?
No, Floon lives. Yeah. So they're like moaning softly and like shambling around. And you look at them and there's a moment we all watch this. The camera lingers on it. And then Zenith, he says, majestic creatures.
Yeah.
Right.
How long until it grows up into one that can use a gun? I mean, a harpoon thing.
He shakes his head and he says, well, I think you're barking up the wrong tree, my friend. Well, and speaking of which, and he looks at the two of you, he says, what brings you to the Emporium? Yeah, you couldn't be here to chew the fat with an old ranch hand like me.
We're just waiting on our friends who are in the pleasure tent. Happy fun time place.
I want to find magic stuff.
He scowls. He makes a face when you see the tent, and he says, your friends are going to want to be careful around there.
That's what I
said.
Why'd
you say that? Besides the fact that they'll take your immortal soul.
He looks around and he says, well, it's too late for old Zenith, but now we shouldn't be having this conversation here. Come inside. And he turns around and he walks into he walks like he's got a really bad bow leg. Like he walks like a cowboy. And he walks inside to the jingling of his spurs.
Ah, this is exciting. I was going to try and catch those hell chickens with the things on their head and the scoopy. It's much better.
Yeah. So you follow him? You go inside?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So in here, it's a very simple little like living tent. He doesn't really do any business here. You see there's a chest. There's a cot, like a little bunk. He's got an little iron stove with a pot on it. And when you come in, then I guess there's a table. When you come in, he turns to whoever's the last one in and says, "You can go on and close the flap there." And he sits down and he takes out a long ivory pipe, and real slowly, puts some tobacco in the pipe and tamps it down, lights it. Takes him way longer than you'd think, but he just does this in silence. Lights it, takes a long drag, breathes it into the air, and he says, "I got a proposition for you, strangers."
Oh, nice.
Which is?
Well, you two look like you could handle yourselves in a scuffle.
Sure.
And I'm going to guess that you got fewer soul coins than you wish you had.
Yeah.
Generally speaking, yes. I assume there's no I assume there's no gold to soul coin transference anywhere.
He shakes his head and he says, well, everybody does it different. Some of the vendors around here, they'll take your gold. Bernie'd be happy to see you. Anybody from the prime material just tickles her pink.
She got any magic stuff?
And he says, well, I mean, it depends on how you consider personal grooming to be magical, which I myself do, but not in the way that you mean. Now,
sideburns like that, I mean.
Yeah, he's very proud of them, and he's happy that if you notice them. So he says, now I've been squirreling away some soul coins for, well, just such an occasion. Some violent-looking, capable strangers come wandering through town.
I feel like you get a lot of those here.
Fewer than you'd think.
Huh.
So I have a proposition for you. Man, what runs this whole Emporium, he and we ain't seen eye to eye since I got here. Now, I can't do nothing about him myself, but nothing in my contract says I can't pay somebody else to deal with him for me.
Oh, and who is it that runs this place? It's not the tent guy, is it?
He nods. He says, that tent guy you're talking about, you get an eye on him, you're going to see yourself a handsome-looking fella. Long, waxed beard, beautiful clothes. But that ain't the right of it. Nope, I've seen his true form. Hands-on, backwards head of some kind of big cat. What you got there is a Rakshasa. Dangerous type of individual.
Huh.
What I'd like to propose is that you murder him for me.
Why would we do that?
Soul coins.
Soul coins, my dear. Soul
How many,
coins.
right?
Coin of the realm. You want to keep that vehicle of yours purring through the night? Well, you got to feed it soul coins, and unless you have a way to make it yourself, they're a bit hard to come by.
How many soul coins?
I'll give you all I have. That's 9 coins in exchange for Mahadi's murder.
We had to kill an
Yeah,
entire car full of wereballs to get like 2. Easy money.
So, Zarova, perhaps we should consult with the rest of our group about this, but given the fact that there's no fighting inside this area, so we want to break those rules, we need to find a way to get them out. This is perhaps a little bit more complicated than you're thinking.
Yeah, maybe.
Also, she'll bring this up. There's one more thing we should talk. We need to talk about. Thank you for the offer. We'll discuss it with the rest of our companions.
Yeah, we won't tell on him. We're not Nox.
And he says, well, doesn't matter too much to me whether he knows it's coming or not. This wouldn't be the first time I've tried.
Oh, and what happened to the others?
They took one last long walk down that final dusty trail. Catch my meaning.
So he killed them first.
Yep.
Good to know. Thank you for your time. If someone were looking for, say, arrows here, who would they need to go to?
He says, I figure them salamanders over at Fire Snake ought to take care of you.
Thanks.
And he
I'm
gestures.
leaving.
He gestures. He says,
just like leaves.
I'm going to sit here a spell. Y'all can see yourselves out. Have a good day. Maglubiet, watch over you.
Don't know who that is.
Hope he doesn't.
when they're outside, Bryn.
God, so Zariel, you're like the teenage version of me, where if I sneezed and somebody's like, "Bless you," I was like, "No, I don't wanna." So yeah, you walk back out, out into the open air of the Emporium, and I think Sathra and November, you are emerging back into the commons at this time as well. So you see Bryn and Sosurova, so you all kind of see each other across the commons.
So just to be clear, the owner of the Emporium is also the person who runs the tent that I can't remember the name of.
Yes, yeah. His name is Mahadi. He runs the Infernal Rapture. That's his personal business, but the whole Emporium sort of falls under his.
Cool. So when we get outside, Bryn will kind of turn to Sosurova and be like, "As interesting as that offer is, that will directly cause us problems with that whole Ruth needs a bath from this person."
Well, why don't we do it after we give her a bath? We can come back.
Talk about it then. But I personally would prefer not to murder people.
Would you kindly consider this?
Yes, Sosurova.
That's my BioShock joke.
It's a good one. Thanks. Okay. All right. So yeah, you see each other and I assume like meet up again in the center of the place. Okay. All right.
November looks like a person who just walked into the like AC and was like, "Oh my God, this is so nice. I want to stay here for a little bit longer," and then was like forcibly dragged back.
Yeah. Yeah, and somehow the oppressive heat and evil of the place seems worse after having gotten a little bit of a reprieve.
Oh, I just wanted to. It's nice in there. What about just like the dessert? Can I just get a dessert, or maybe?
No.
Do you have fun in there?
It's just
we made an appointment.
So not this.
Yes.
So we got an
November
offer.
has been bellyaching about wanting to partake in the meal or what have you.
Kids these days, you're so spoiled.
We do have a limited number of soul coins. We were given an offer to murder Mahadi in exchange for some, but
sorry, who?
He owns like lavas with human faces. He seemed all right.
Yeah, well, a different person doesn't like that person. Anyway,
the cowboy hobgoblin said that if we killed the Rakshasa, he'd give us 9 soul coins.
That's basically what Bryn says. I did point out to Sosurova that would cause a slight problem with our whole get Ruth to have a bath, so she gives us information plan. So we shouldn't do it now.
Wait.
I'm not advocating for doing it at all, but I did want you all to know that was.
But that place is the only place that isn't.
If we kill him, we can just go in. You don't even have to pay anything.
Again, I'm not saying we should kill him. I'm just pointing out that we were given that offer. If we really need 9 soul coins, I suppose that's a way we can get them.
Really, we've spent 1 on the car so far.
We should figure out if we can trade them for, I don't know, like gold rather than murder.
No. They're people's souls. We're in hell. I don't see how you're not understanding this. Conceptually, everything revolves around death.
I understand that, but I don't have to add to the cycle of it. If I can participate in the horrible money exchange, soul exchange cycle without trying to actively make it worse.
Why do you think people make gold? Back up in there. All of the money that we earned from doing those other things and robbing those nobles was made off the exploitation of other people.
I understand that,
but literally die, but their entire lives.
This is the reality that we live in. I can't single-handedly overhaul the system. I also have to eat, and therefore I must also participate in the horrible systems that we have.
Unless you get infinite power, create the most powerful spell ever created, and hold the entire plane to ransom.
The salamanders have arrows.
All right. Well, that's where I'll go next.
Yeah, you want to head over there? Okay. All right. So on your way over, you see Firesnake Forge, and what initially looked like just like a metal building, you realize is actually 3 war machines, 3 infernal war machines that seem to have been able to reconfigure themselves into the shape of a building. So they have created this little kind of dome-shaped building, but you see like a wheel on one side. You can see some tubing running along the side. So it looks like the building itself is also a war machine made up of smaller war machines. And from outside, you can feel waves of heat washing off of it, and you can hear the sounds of a forge inside, right? Like the clanking of a hammer on steel and, right? So it's obviously a forge from the outside.
Sounds good. I would like to go in there and talk to whoever's in charge of this place.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So you go in. Inside, there is a fervor of activity. Right. You can see in the center around the main forge. There are 3 snake-like figures. They look like this.
Hey, salamanders.
Yep. So you see three salamanders. They are, one of them is working a bellows, and the other 2 are taking turns hammering a big piece of metal. And then also they are being assisted by a bunch of these little guys as well. You can see them running around, grabbing material, awesome. Sort of chattering, and then. In the back, kind of near the back, you can see sorting finished items onto shelves. You see a suit of armor, a seemingly empty suit of armor, and it is just shelving items and kind of doing work in the back. So when you walk in, one of the salamanders is like, "Hang on a second," and then they clank, clank, clank. They finish what they're doing. And then you hear the hiss of it being plunged into some water, and one of the salamanders slithers over to you and says, "Welcome to Fire Snake. What can I do for you?"
I need arrows.
Oh, all right. What kind of arrows? Crossbow arrows, longbow arrows? You need the big ones for a vehicle, or
no, like just longbow, regular arrows.
Yeah, I think we got some of those around here somewhere. And he just like looks and he gestures and hey, over there. And you can see there's a barrel with like various ammunition in it. So you can buy arrows. They're 150% more expensive than normal.
But it's gold expensive.
But it's gold. Yep. You can buy it in gold. Yep.
I would like to buy 40 arrows.
Okay. So how much are they normally a piece?
I'm not sure.
Okay. Yeah.
It's
check.
like a gold.
It's gonna be
20.
like nothing.
Yeah, it's like nothing.
I just need to stock up on
okay.
shooty bolts.
Okay. Yeah. I think if they're 20 for a gold, which I'm not sure they are, but if they are, it's 3 gold for 40.
That's fine. I have plenty of gold.
They have 150% markup on their normal price.
What was the name of the fellow that wanted us to kill Mahadi?
Oh, Zenith.
I didn't actually ask his name.
No, it's his larva farm. It's Z''Neth.
I was right. It is 1 gold for 20.
Okay, perfect.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just wanted it for my notes.
Yeah. All right. Okay. Arrows will stock back up on. Prices are paid.
He looks at Bryn and he says, "Are you sure you don't need any new armor or anything?" I mean,
I have plate mail equivalent.
That's literally the best kind of armor that exists.
If you have magical varieties.
19 AC.
He looks at it and he looks at you and he says, "Well, I mean, sure, it'll protect you and everything, but I guess if you feel comfortable leaving the house dressed like that, I figure you might want to send a more impressive message than I fell into a junk pile this morning when I got out of bed."
Now you're just being mean.
He shrugs.
Yeah, you're not doing a very good salesman job here. You're saying a luxury item.
He turns and looks at you and he's like, "Listen, little dude, I don't really care if people buy anything or if they don't. We're just kind of here to take care of the place."
You got any magic stuff?
And he's like, I don't know. And he looks over his shoulder. He's like, "Hey, Skids, we got any magic?" And Skids is like, "Nah, not today." And he looks back and he's like, "Sorry, bro."
I keep hearing of these. Well, I mean, I don't keep hearing about it, but I keep thinking about these. You heard of them? The war mage ones? I kind of want one because I feel like I got an AC magic item, but that's just not really working out for me.
Yeah, and he's like,
I do more killing.
Nah, anything like that, and well, Zariel and her legion would just come down and take it. So, we can't really hold on to that kind of stuff. Mostly, and he gestures around, mostly we just make this kind of stuff. But hey, if you've got a vehicle that needs repairs, me and my brothers, we could take care of it for you.
Do you reckon he can make armor for a cat?
And he makes a face, and he's like, "Hey, Slag, can we make cat armor?" And in the back, Slag's like, "I don't know, man. What's a cat?" And he's like, "Yeah, good point." And he turns, looks at you. He's like, "What's a cat?"
Like that with wings on it.
So Miffles like jumps out of your hat and onto the desk. Yeah, he like puts his hands up and slithers back in surprise. He's like, "Whoa, what the hell is that? Whoa!" You can't scare me like that. What the heck? Look at that thing. It's looking at me. Oh, God. And it's just like, Miffle just looks up and just like, Mwah. Yeah. And he's just like trembling in fear.
That's a no.
And so you hear in the back, one of the other ones is like, "What's the problem, Rash?" And Rash is like, "I don't know, man. This cat's blowing my mind." And the other two are like, "I gotta look at this." And they come out and they're both like, "Whoa, look at that little dude." And all of them like gather around Miffles and are like, "That thing's terrifying. Look at the way it's looking at you. It's gonna try to kill you, bro." And then it was like, "Don't say that, bro. I'm afraid for my life." And they just are now totally like locked into this conversation about Miffles. And I think that's the scene that we fade out on for the break. It's just these three being terrified of a cat. So you can, if there's anything else, take a quick look. If there's anything else you want to buy, any metal armor or weapons can be bought from here. And your vehicle's fine. So you probably don't have anything else you need, but if you think of anything, let me know.
Yeah,
after
unless
the break.
they have something magical, I'm better off with my current.
Yeah, no. Yeah.
Current gear.
Yeah, I think you're fine. All right, cool.
I just need to get spell components.
Yeah, we'll do that when we get back. Awesome. Okay, cool. So we'll return to the Wandering Emporium after a short break. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.